The third passage, students, and it's been extracted from An Astrologer's Day by R.K. Narayan. I'm sure you may have read or at least heard about R.K. Narayan, because a lot of his stories have also been made into television serials. If not, just go through what his stories are, the titles of those, and read them also. You will find them very interesting. Okay, so this is the passage. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment, which consisted of a dozen cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth with obscure mystic charts on it, a notebook, and a bundle of Palmyra writing. His forehead was dazzling with sacred ash and vermilion, and his eyes sparkled with a sharp, abnormal gleam, which was really an outcome of a continual searching look for customers, but which his simple clients took to be a prophetic light and felt comforted. Okay, so this describes the physical appearance of this astrologer, which the writer has introduced as a protagonist of his story. What kind of person is he? He is very punctual, is what we understand, because the author begins with this. Punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his paraphernalia. What did that consist of? A dozen cowrie shells, a square piece of cloth with some kind of mystic charts on it, a notebook, and some kind of a bundle of Palmyra writing. And then physically, how did he appear? He had his forehead smeared with some sacred ash and vermilion, the red powder that you always come across women wearing on their forehead, married women. That kind of color of that ash was smeared on his forehead. His eyes, of course, were sparkling with that kind of sharp gleam, which was an outcome of continuously searching for prospective customers, but which his simple clients took to be a prophetic light and felt comforted. So there we find a mismatch. Now the kind of look that he had was due to the continuous search for customers, but that gave others an impression of him as being very prophetic and very intelligent, or very professional at what he was doing. The power of his eyes was considerably enhanced by their position, placed as they were between the painted forehead and the dark whiskers which streamed down his cheeks. Even a half-wit's eyes would sparkle in such a setting. So the author is being a little cheeky here, and he says that not just this person, anybody with the kind of look that he had created with the smearing of the ash and the mustaches that he had would make a character, any individual appear like that, or would give that impression of this person to others. Read this part again. The power of his eyes was considerably enhanced by the position. How? They were placed between the painted forehead, right, the painted forehead, which was dazzling with sacred ash and vermilion, and the dark whiskers. Whiskers, the authors used to replace the actual word, which is mustaches. Whiskers, why? Whiskers not very relevant, because whiskers is generally used in the context of animals, but here the author is trying to be a little amusing, and he's describing this person, saying that his mustaches were like whiskers and they streamed down his cheeks, and because of all this, anybody who was even a half-wit or a dumb person would have his eyes sparkle in this kind of face setting. People were attracted to him as bees are attracted to cosmos or dahlia stalks. He sat under the boughs of a spreading tamarind tree which flanked a path running through the town hall park. It was a remarkable place in many ways. A surging crowd was always moving up and down this narrow road morning till night. So the position that he had chosen, the place where he had chosen to practice his profession, was also really very important, because as we read, it was remarkable as the authors described it. Why? It was there were people streaming there all the time, and which is why people were always attracted to him, because everybody wanted to know what their future held. A variety of trades and occupations were represented all along its way. Medicine sellers, sellers of stolen hardware and junk, magicians, and above all, an auctioneer of cheap cloth, who created enough din all day to attract the whole town. So these were the people who had set up shop there. A variety of trades. So it was quite eclectic and not just one kind of trade that people down that alley were had set up. What were they? There were medicine sellers. We understand that, sellers of stolen hardware and junk. So they were people who came to sell stolen hardware and junk, and people set up shops to buy those things and then sell them to prospective customers. Magicians and an auctioneer of cheap cloth. And this person created a lot of noise all day to attract the entire town because his ware was so cheap. Next to him in vociferousness, means there was a lot of noise over there, came a vendor of fried groundnut. So even this vendor who sold fried groundnut created a lot of noise, who gave his ware a fancy name each day, calling it Bombay ice cream one day, and on the next Delhi almond, and on the other or the third Raja's delicacy. So while this vendor sold fried groundnut, each and every day he would name his ware differently. On one day, the fried groundnuts would be given the name Bombay ice cream. I don't know from where this name came up. And then Delhi almond, and on the next day, Raja's delicacy, and so on and so forth. And people flocked to him. A considerable portion of this crowd dallied before the astrologer too. The astrologer transacted his business by the light of a flare or light of a fire which crackled and smoked up above the groundnut heap nearby. So the astrologer sat next to this fried groundnut vendor, and the light of the fire that this person lit up was enough for the astrologer to conduct his business, is what the author tells us. Okay. So there was quite a lot of description about people and locations or places there, and this should, we have to keep this in mind and then go about the questions. Okay. So the first question here is number 13. Which among the following is the meaning of the expression vociferousness? Vociferousness, I have already explained it to you. So you will have some idea at least. Expressing opinions or feelings in a loud and confident way. B. Words that are spoken or sung to have a magical effect. Willing or prepared to do something or to hang about aimlessly. I hope you are able to identify the correct answer based on my explanation, which is A. Expressing opinions or feelings in a loud and confident way. Okay, so this is where the author uses this word. Next to him in vociferousness, I told you this person shouted out to attract his vendors, and this was attract his customers, and this was a vendor of fried groundnuts. So it makes sense to go with A, because it does mean to express, here at least, feelings in a loud and confident manner, if not opinions. Words that are spoken or sung to have a magical effect doesn't make sense. Willing or prepared to do something and to hang about aimlessly are absolutely incorrect. Okay, the next one now, 14. When did the astrologer usually start his day's business? When did he start? A. When people are attracted to him like bees. B. When the surging crowd moves up and down the road. C. Punctually at midday or by the light of a flare. The question asks us to find out when the author usually started his day's business. So this should be not too difficult to answer, because the passage began with this: punctually at midday, he opened his bag and spread out his professional equipment. Okay, so when people are attracted to him like bees is not correct. When the surging crowd moves up and down the road also is not correct, because this happened throughout the day. But the light of a flare tells us how he conducted his business, or the light came from where, but it does not answer when, the time. So it is punctually at midday. So it is option C. Okay, I hope this is clear. Question number 15. What was considered as prophetic light by the simple clients of the astrologer? A. the resplendent forehead of the astrologer with sacred ash and vermilion. B. The sparkling eyes of the astrologer with an abnormal gleam. C. The dark whiskers that stream down the cheeks of the astrologer. Or D. The saffron colored turban around the head of the astrologer. Now, wouldn't you feel, where did this come from? There's no reference or mention of any kind of saffron colored turban worn by the astrologer. So, this we can cancel out. For the rest, in case you are still confused, we can go back to the passage. Okay, what was the question? Prophetic light. So, what was the prophetic light is given here. His eyes sparkled with a sharp abnormal gleam, which was really an outcome of a continual searching look for customers, but which his simple clients took to be a prophetic light and felt comforted. Okay. So, was it the resplendent forehead of the astrologer with sacred ash and vermilion? No. Was it the sparkling eyes of the astrologer with an abnormal gleam? Exactly. The dark whiskers? No. The answer is option B. Again, this is not a very difficult kind of question, and in case you don't remember, it's always better to go and check to confirm what exactly you need to mark on. Question number 16. Which among the following is the word for the phrase bright and colorful in an impressive way? What can be considered bright and colorful in an impressive way is not mystic. Mystic is something which is not worldly. Okay, so this doesn't match up. Flare is something which goes up suddenly. Okay, we can describe or use the word flare to talk about a flame which suddenly rises or even somebody's temper. This also is not meaningful. Sparkle and dazzling. Now, bright and colorful in an impressive way is more of dazzling than just a sparkle. Okay, sparkle is just something that comes up, okay, or glows, but dazzling can be something which is not just bright, but it is also colorful, and this is what we came across. Where did we come across? As a description for the sacred ash with which he had smeared his forehead. The forehead was dazzling with sacred ash. So, sacred ash and vermilion had given his forehead this kind of a look. What was that kind of a look? Which was bright and colorful in an impressive way. Okay. The next one, question number 17. Which among the following is not a trade or occupation represented in the pathway running through the town hall park? So, be careful with these kind of questions. These are, or this is an example of an except question or an odd man out question. What are we asked to identify? Something which is not a trade or occupation. So, when we go through the options, we will come across 3 out of 4 that correspond to what is not asked. Okay, a trade or occupation represented in the pathway, and the one which is not a trade or occupation is the one we have to go with. Okay, so go back. Let's go through the options and then check the paragraph. Magicians, medicine sellers, auctioneers of cheap bags and sellers of stolen hardware. Not a trade or occupation represented in the pathway running through the town hall park. Okay. So, a variety of trades and occupations were represented all along the way. Medicine sellers, sellers of stolen hardware and junk, magicians, and above all, an auctioneer of cheap cloth who created enough din all day to attract the whole town. Okay, so don't get confused now and then go through the choices carefully. So, which is not a trade or occupation? Magicians was a trade or occupation. So, because it was, let us eliminate it. Medicine sellers, yes, eliminate. C says auctioneers of cheap bags and D says sellers of stolen hardware. Now, because this discussion is from this handout or the questions that have appeared in the actual CLAT 2025 exam, I need to tell you that in the exam, the test takers in the response sheet mentioned D as the correct answer, sellers of stolen hardware. But our key is C. Okay, why? Because we feel that auctioneers of cheap bags can be classed under a trader occupation, whereas sellers of stolen hardware can be classed under a trade of occupation, but auctioneers of cheap bags, they were just auctioning it. So, auctioning or this cannot be considered, auctioning cannot be considered a trade or occupation. So, this does not belong to the set of trade and occupations that we have to choose and eliminate or identify and eliminate. So, we have considered C to be the correct answer, but the CLAT people have given us a D as the correct answer. So, let me not cross it as incorrect. I have just mentioned it and marked it so that you can also check and understand why our key mentions C as the correct answer. Okay. Question number 18. Who among the following used names like Bombay Ice Cream, Delhi Almond and Raja's Delicacy to attract the crowd? So, this also should not be difficult at all. Was it the sellers of cheap clothes? No. Was it the sellers of medicine? No. The ice cream seller? No. The groundnut seller? Yes. So, the answer is option D. Okay.